Good morning, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you what was a campaign launched by the European Commission under that heading, A World You Like with a Climate You Like. Let me just, as introduction, first tell you, and I think the presentation by David Kennedy was very adequate for such, to put this campaign in context, because we all know, well, COP Warsaw is now ongoing. That's why our Commissioner for Climate Action could not actually join this meeting. We know how we are risking to pass the target of 2 degrees centigrade. We know how climate impacts are striking under the typhoon in the Philippines, and this heavy toll is still in our minds. So one could think, if the European Commission is to launch a campaign, shouldn't it be on climate impacts, on the risks, on the threats that make us move? Well, actually, no. We have chosen a different approach for this campaign. The campaign, first of all, aims to bring climate change action in a positive tone, which means to reach the citizen in a different way, because we know that human beings are more prone to react to pain, pleasure, and certainly to the contents of their wallets, rather than just a global risk where they think they contribute as individuals very slightly as climate change. So what we want with this campaign is, of course, to still raise awareness on the urgency of action, but also to show how the solutions are there, how they are affordable, how they sometimes are pleasant, and how they can actually make some savings. So, as a startup, we know that European citizens are kind of prone, as a majority, to believe in climate change, to consider it important, to want to fight it. So again, we were not really needing to go and show again how important it is. We know it is important, and unfortunately, we have the extreme weather events doing the campaign also for us. They strike, as in the Philippines or in Sicily, or forest fires in southern Europe, and by the way, Australia, California, even Moscow some time ago, the floods that we've also served the UK, the heat waves, etc. They are there all the time. So again, we wanted to go into a different approach. Let me tell you then a bit more about the campaign itself. So, on changing the narrative, what we were asking to Europe, to its citizens, the cities and the business, is to bring in their successful cases on climate change. That's the way our commissioner has put it. We know many solutions are out there. We don't need a silver bullet in every sector. Many of the small bullets are already available. Let's pick them up and go ahead. So what we wanted, what we asked for were for cases where the solutions were there, were affordable, and which could and feasible, and could bring in some economic benefit or other benefits, other win-wins altogether. So it was not drafted as a one-way campaign. It was drafted as a platform where we convey our message with the European Commission, but where participants also bring in their own cases. On the key messages, I've told you, first, climate action is necessary, affordable and feasible. The campaign, in short, how it runs. Some of the keywords we wanted to use on the possibility to discuss, to act, and to explore solutions to bring them all together. Now, on the concrete. The campaign, first of all, it features a website, an interactive website in 23 languages. It actually has so far around 600,000 unique visitors. It was a campaign also drafted around social media. We've used several of them with many visitors. In actually, more than 1.4 million people has reached via Facebook alone, and some other 70,000 through other social media followers. The campaign has also reached has also had posters that we have distributed and showed, highlighting particularly some sectors like housing and buildings, transport, waste, shopping, etc. On the media, we have been a bit everywhere, also including in the UK, in the BBC, with many national TV programs, radio broadcasts on the campaign specifically, and we have reached over 1,200 articles in the press all over Europe, including in the UK, namely in The Guardian. Now, this campaign has decided to target some countries more specifically. There were 5 countries, so Bulgaria, Lithuania, Portugal, Poland, and Italy, that was selected as target countries. Why? Well, because somehow in our evaluation there was a bit lower awareness, or there had never been a widespread climate action campaign in these countries. So we've targeted them a bit more. So we have had events in several of these countries. These images actually come from these events. But by the way, the launch of the event of this campaign was in London back there in 8 October 2012. I had the pleasure to join. But we have many campaign events, and we have also brought in many partners. By the way, Govtoday is one of such partners. We had around 320 partners feeding their cases and also spreading the message of the campaign. And some of those partners had their own initiatives, namely in Denmark, Sweden, other countries, that also added as campaign events. We have also managed to bring in support of some celebrities and politicians, and namely, we have had in the launch, we had Colin Firth joining in the launch here in the UK. We had express support of Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, and we had other celebrities from some countries in particular coming in. Now, other than this, as I told you, we wanted success stories from each member state, and actually if you visit the website of the campaign, you will find such success stories of each of the 28 member states, including the UK. If I remember well, it was on carpooling and car sharing, some of the success stories that are from the UK in our website. So, but in any case, this is what the success stories aim at bringing in, especially showing this feasibility and showing where the best examples are and trying to inspire European citizens to change the way in several of those areas that I've referred to. Other than this, we have also launched a challenge, and the challenge aimed at define what were the best solutions of all those that came in. So we have actually asked European citizens, business, cities, organizations to upload their best case and submit it to a competition to find the best one. We ask for this kind of solution, efficient, impactful, that could be widespread, that could be upscaled. And we have had 2 different challenges, so to say. For each of the 5 target countries, again identified there, we had a national competition among the projects emerging in each of them, with a national winner. There was a jury which had some EU-level elements. I had the pleasure of being one of such elements, plus re-elements of each of the target countries, selected between academia, business, celebrities, etc. And the top 10 voted by EU citizens through a web voting were those that were actually submitted to the jury. So we did have one winner for each country. Let me tell you a bit more about each of the winners. For instance, in Lithuania, the winner came to be a micro-enterprise that uses waste to do fashion, and as such, reducing emissions. For Bulgaria, it was a project to promote community composting, again, reducing waste and emissions. For Italy, it was a solution for buildings that the only energy in such building is renewable energy, and also under efficiency standards. For Portugal, it was a land use project that used a mix of biodiverse seeds to do sown biodiverse pastures with several win-win benefits: carbon retention in the soil, increased production, protection from forest fires, etc. And from Poland, it was again a project targeting buildings and profiting the traditional Polish style of architecture to build in some energy efficiency as such. Each of the winners has had a billboard campaign for 2 weeks in their national capitals. This is the billboards of each of the winners. In this case, we have here Bulgaria, we have Italy, Lithuania, Poland, and Portugal. These were then the target countries' challenges. There was also a European-wide challenge. In this case, it was different. It was among the top 10 voted at EU scale. The 3 preferred by a pre-jury were then submitted to a high-level jury. The high-level jury, by the way, included Connie Hedegaard, the European Commissioner. It included also Gro Harlem Brundtland, the former Prime Minister of Norway, involved in the Brundtland Report on Sustainable Development. Arnold Schwarzenegger, that you know not only from the cinema but also from California as past governor, and Rajendra Pachauri, the chair of the IPCC. The 3 top candidates came from Belgium, Portugal, and Poland. And actually, the Portuguese and Poland candidates were the winners of the national contests on different processes of selection. So apparently on the national winners, we had chosen well because they were also the preferred by the pre-jury. To tell you a bit of each, or to show a bit more, I've described briefly the Portuguese and Polish projects. On the case of the Belgian project is an airport accreditation, a carbon accreditation scheme that aims at reducing emissions from the management of airports, and it's quite successful worldwide and spreading, well, mainly in Europe, but spreading worldwide. Finally, the winner came to be the Portuguese project. I'm Portuguese, but I had nothing to do with this final outcome in any case. But it is indeed, if you allow me to say, quite a very interesting project in this case, because it does show how our farmers, by a simple choice to a different kind of grassland, can benefit immensely on several grounds, to begin with on production, but also on the enrichment of the soil and on the sustainability of the way they can farm. And this is with some potential to be expanded to other kinds of Mediterranean climate countries. This is a bit of the film that was made after the award came in. So this was the winner that was presented in Copenhagen together in a Sustainer Award Prize for Sustainability that target sustainable projects worldwide. This was the European projects in our World You Like campaign. So, to sum up, we are quite happy and proud with the campaign because it was risky. In a way, to target these soft, nice projects, and another way to base it specially in the web. We could not reach all national televisions out there from Brussels, but we did bring in partners from a huge variety of sectors. We could bring in wonderful projects in those 269 that was submitted to the competition. You will find them all in the website if you want to explore. I'm sure there are UK projects there, and several of the non-awarded are actually magnificent projects. Also, the success stories are so. And we had quite an impact on the number of people we have reached. So, yeah, the figures, the 320 partners, the submissions, the projects submitted that were actually voted by European citizens, the Facebook funds I referred, the votes we could get from citizens. Of course, we know in some of the target countries there were campaigns on Vote on My Project that also increased the number of votes. and the number of unique website visitors. So we think with relative modest resources, we have done a successful campaign. You can tell me, does a campaign save the world? No, it doesn't. The challenge of climate change is no less than what you've heard from David Kennedy. Actually, all his message is quite tuned with the way the EU policy is framed on climate change, on the way we in the Commission look at it. But we do think that it may well be for summing several small steps that maybe we can leap towards the low-carbon future that we desperately need, and which is indeed ready to be grasped, at least in some sectors and in some situations. I don't mean that all the moves will save us money. Of course, there will be investments, but in many cases, we'll actually get energy savings, cost benefits, and a more pleasant life in several of the options that are there. And I'm telling you also that I'm quite impressed how well this Government Today conference is suited to the approach that we had in this campaign, because on looking not only on what we've heard here on renewable energy, efficiency, etc., but all the other issues that will be debated that do include waste, buildings, food and service, heating and cooling, cities, etc. So I hope you found it interesting that we could bring in you a description of how we frame this campaign and ready to debate. Thank you.